Nigga, oh yeah, that homie. I don't give a fuck who I'm talking about. All of them.
Talking about?
You ain't get that homie.
Bro,
Not surprised.
told on his girl, bro.
Not surprised.
6ix9ine just about to tell on anybody, huh?
Man, come on.
What's your definition of a snitch? Let's start there.
A snitch is somebody, I feel like a snitch will do anything to get out of a situation. I'm trying to say, like a snitch will get faced with something and will just give up their mother, their brother, everybody, their whole camp just to be free.
6ix9ine's girl is gone, slain in cold blood, and the streets can't stop buzzing. Fresh footage just surfaced showing him right before it all went down, and people swear his own words may have sparked the ops to pull the trigger. On August 17th, 2025, the hip-hop world got hit with a tragedy that felt unreal. Just as the sun crept over the concrete jungle, 29-year-old Dominican beauty Ariela La Langosta, an influencer and bartender, was found lifeless inside her car on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon.
I fold on though.
When you took the stand, or when you testified?
What I fold on?
When you snitched.
All right, so let me ask you something, son. If you was in that position, what you would have done?
For me, you gotta understand.
I don't answer the question.
I would never tell.
All right, so this is what I'm saying. If you was in that position, you would have did that, Tom?
The scene left everybody stunned, but what really had folks whispering was her link to one of rap's most controversial figures, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and the possibility that his drama set the stage for her deadly fate. To understand just how wild this situation really is, you gotta know who Ariela was out here. This wasn't just another girl uploading cute selfies. She was a whole movement in New York's nightlife scene. With over 551,000 followers on Instagram and another 115,000 on TikTok, she wasn't just chasing clout, she was shaping it. Her energy, her dancing, her modeling, people couldn't look away. But behind the flashing lights and viral clips, Ariela was tapped in with the same circles where rappers, hustlers, and influencers all collide. A dangerous mix of money, ego, and power. Working at hotspots like Icon New York and Starlets, she moved in the kind of clubs where the glitter comes with grit, and where celebrities, street bosses, and social stars brush shoulders. These weren't casual hangouts. These were pressure cooker rooms where a single word, a single look could spark chaos. That dangerous cocktail of fame, money, and tension can flip into something deadly in a heartbeat.
Ask you something, and like I said, my respect to the West Coast. You never lacking, right?
Never.
So what happened to the niggas that lack? Let's bring up Nipsey Hussle. You think he said, yo, will never come up to me because I'm... Yo, bro, it happened to the best of them.
Yes.
Hold on.
You're absolutely right.
Hold on. So what you gonna say, Nipsey?
The night before everything spiraled into tragedy tells a chilling story once you realize how it ended. On August 16th, 2025, Ariela was still on Instagram, vibing at Icon New York, the very spot where she stacked her paper. Her stories showed her glowing, laughing, sipping, dancing like the whole world was hers. She looked carefree, like nothing could touch her. But nobody knew those clips would become haunting. The final snapshots of a woman whose life was about to be cut short in the most brutal way imaginable. And here's where things get messy, because investigators, fans, and haters are all pointing fingers, trying to figure out what really went down. To truly break it down, you gotta look at 6ix9ine's history of flipping on people when the heat's on. That track record suddenly looks way too relevant when we see how he reacted to Ariela's slayer. A viral clip from No Jumper lays it bare. His instant willingness to work with police, even when it involves people he's supposedly close to. The host's reaction in that moment says it all. This isn't loyalty, this is survival. And the culture views it with nothing but side-eye. This isn't just about one relationship gone left, it's a whole pattern. 6ix9ine has long been seen as quick to give up information when things get hot, and plenty of videos break down exactly how the streets read that move. That's why when people start tossing theories about why Ariela ended up targeted.
Hey, but what's the point though?
All right then, so King Von is a solid, and he got killed, right? Then poked out and put 5 in him, right? And he dead, right? So King Von died lacking.
You hurt my feelings.
No. Hear what I'm saying.
May he rest in peace,
King
man.
Von died lacking. Nipsey died lacking. Pop Smoke died lacking.
Right.
Can't lack?
No, you can't.
All right.
Killer be killed in these streets.
His so-called reputation for snitching keeps sliding back into the spotlight. The link between Ariela and Tekashi 6ix9ine has become the centerpiece of all this speculation, and for good reason. The nature of their bond is one of the most debated parts of this entire case, with sources throwing out stories that clash hard. Some swear up and down that Ariela was his girl, while others claim 6ix9ine always referred to her as his sister, painting it as a deep but platonic connection. That confusion doesn't look random. It screams secrecy. In the 6ix9ine's world, acknowledging someone publicly can be just as dangerous as it is revealing. And when it comes to Ariela, one thing's clear. This wasn't just casual friendship. Their connection ran deeper than that, and the receipts prove it. She wasn't just hanging in the background. Ariela popped up front and center in his video for WAPA, the collab with Angel Dior, Lanier, and Bolan 47. That wasn't some quick cameo either. Her presence lit up the screen, cementing her as part of 6ix9ine's music orbit in a way the streets couldn't ignore. Even more telling, their 2023 appearance at the Toga Room in New York. The two stepped out together in the nightlife scene, showing just enough closeness to spark chatter while still keeping their business private. It was the kind of move that said, "We're connected," without spelling out exactly how deep it really went. And that's why the timing of her passing feels extra chilling. By 2025, this wasn't the same wild, rainbow-haired 6ix9ine clowning on social media and pulling up everywhere for clout. Nah, he was moving under heavy restrictions, facing legal pressure that made every public move risky. So the fact Ariela was still tied to him at that exact moment, that only adds fuel to the theories about whether being close to him put her in the crosshairs. By 2025, 6ix9ine's life was looking more like a cage than a stage. His public appearances had become rare and dangerous as hell. After a 45-day stint in federal custody in late 2024 for violating supervised release, he was slapped with strict probation. We're talking house arrest with an ankle monitor, no international travel, and a long list of legal and behavioral rules that had him boxed in. Then came July 2025, when he pled guilty to drug charges tied to a March raid on his Florida mansion that turned up MDMA, cocaine, and more. With sentencing looming in September, his movements were under a microscope, meaning showing face in New York's nightlife wasn't just unlikely, it could have blown up his entire legal standing. And yet Ariela's passing is now tangled up with his chaotic past and all the enemies he built while flipping from street-tied rapper to federal informant. Some unreleased footage makes it even crazier, showing 6ix9ine breaking down the mindset that pushed him to cooperate with the feds. In the clip, he's defensive, daring others to say what they would have done in his shoes. That mentality is key when you ask the real question, did rolling with him put Ariela in the line of fire? Because the evolution of Daniel Hernandez into Tekashi 6ix9ine, and then into one of the most infamous cooperating witnesses in hip-hop, hasn't just been a story, it's been a target painted on his back. And the threats weren't just online chatter either. In February 2025, a fake casket with rival King Von's name was delivered to his Florida home, a direct warning that his enemies still had him on their radar. That's why speculation is swirling that Ariela's slayer wasn't random at all. It might have been a retaliatory strike meant to shake him at his core. But just when it seemed the puzzle couldn't get darker, fresh details dropped that flipped the entire case on its head. The chatter around Ariela's passing goes way beyond her link to 6ix9ine. It's about a whole spiderweb of rivalries, relationships, and dangerous motives.
I'm gonna be honest.
Alpo. We gonna get on Alpo. Yo, shout out my girl, baby. I love you. Listen, I gotta talk about it. I gotta bring it up. I'm sorry if I put, but I'm about to fire Harlem up. My girl's baby father, Charlie C, is a Mac Ball of blood.
Okay, what that mean?
He's a Mac Ball of blood that Jack kill all rats. The Mac Ball Jack kill all rats.
What makes it even darker is the pattern we keep seeing in 6ix9ine's past moves. His choice to work with the feds wasn't just some desperate one-time play when he was cornered. It's been his go-to survival tactic whenever trouble hit. And that makes anyone close to him, like Ariela, look like fair game to his enemies. As detectives dig into Ariela La Langosta's final moments, the story unfolding is anything but simple. This isn't mistaken identity. This isn't random hood violence. It's a layered narrative with twists that feel like they're ripped straight out of a grimy street saga. The gossip in the hood, the wild online theories, and even whispers from the nightlife scene are all clashing, each claiming to reveal the real truth. But to understand just how these theories took root, you gotta look at 6ix9ine himself and how he talks about street life. In one telling clip, he lays out his cold-blooded philosophy on survival, straight up saying his approach is smarter than the keep-it-real mindset that left so many rappers dead. In his eyes, snitching isn't weakness, it's strategy. He calls it survival of the fittest, bragging that he's outsmarted the so-called real ones, who ended up in coffins. That's the backdrop fueling the most dominant theory circulating through hip-hop blogs, social media, and even international headlines, that Ariela wasn't the intended target at all. Instead, people are saying she was collateral damage, caught in the crossfire, while the real target was her rumored boyfriend, not a Cardier. And that twist changes the whole story in a way nobody saw coming. According to multiple reports, Not a Cardier isn't just some random dude. He's being painted as a suspected gang boss with a shady history tied to robbery schemes the streets call Jolopi. The details around this theory are disturbing, to say the least. Word is, Ariela was behind the wheel of a Mercedes G-Wagon with Cartier riding shotgun when she got gunned down, yet Cartier walked away untouched. Even wilder are the whispers claiming Ariela set up Colombians for him to rob, which could have sparked a deadly retaliation. If that's true, the entire story flips. From Ariela being innocent collateral damage to her being caught up in moves that brought the heat straight to her door. Police later confirmed someone was taken in for questioning after the shooting, with multiple outlets identifying that person as Cartier himself. His background, prior arrests, and allegedly slipping into the U.S. under shady circumstances only strengthens the belief that he was the real target in what looked like a carefully calculated hit.
Respect gangsters, bro. But you gonna see me, you gonna respect me.
Hold on, let me break something down to you, right?
I don't even mean to change the mood, but 6ix9ine, we all know about the perception.
But Cartier's role makes things way more complicated than mainstream media has been willing to admit. If Ariela was really tied to both 6ix9ine and Cartier, it raises explosive questions. Were those relationships overlapping? And if so, did that double connection make her a target from more than one direction? That's where the second big theory takes off, especially in hip-hop circles. Ariela's passing wasn't about Cartier at all. It was about revenge on 6ix9ine himself. His enemies have never forgiven him for flipping on the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods back in 2019, when he testified and earned that forever snitch label. And Tekashi hasn't exactly been quiet about it either. In his own words, he's compared himself to fallen rappers, but with a controversial twist, saying the reason he's still alive is because he was smart enough to play the game differently, even if it meant betraying the code the streets swear by. 6ix9ine's cold take that street credibility don't mean nothing if you're dead has people shook, and it frames everything about Ariela's case in a darker light. Some speculate the bullets that hit her were never meant for her at all, but for him, with old street ties and gang vendettas finally circling back from his past. That theory got even louder after his emotional Instagram tribute, where he called Ariela his sister. With all the rumors about them possibly being more than that, his words hit different. Some fans believe the intensity of that post wasn't just grief, it was guilt. Like he knew his own baggage may have dragged danger into her world. But here's where the story twists. The timing don't add up clean. In 2025, 6ix9ine was still under strict probation, stuck on house arrest with electronic monitoring. So his being in New York alongside Ariela would have been a major violation, making folks wonder if he was even with her that night, or if the hit was meant as a symbolic strike, sending a chilling message by taking out someone close to him instead. And then comes the third theory lighting up social media, that Ariela wasn't just a bystander. She was taken out for allegedly giving information to the feds. This informant narrative mirrors the exact stain on 6ix9ine's own name, suggesting she might have been moving the same way, feeding authorities intel about criminal activity in her circle.
Harlem don't hide and be like, I wasn't at that baby shower. If I would've seen, I was at that baby shower drinking rosé.
I ain't gonna even lie.
No,
Also,
listen.
let me get spicy real quick. See, my whole thing is like this, man. On some real, I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, Jim Jones, but you keep shouting Mel. You keep shouting Mel and Shotty in the mouth.
That idea gains traction when you line it up with Tekashi's own philosophy on survival. He's been loud about it in footage, saying straight up that working with law enforcement isn't betrayal, it's survival. If Ariela shared that mindset, some believe it may have signed her passing warrant in a world where silence is sacred. Maybe 6ix9ine's mindset rubbed off on the people around him, pushing them toward the same survival tactics he bragged about. Even though there's no hard proof Ariela ever played informant, the streets don't always wait for paperwork. Sometimes just the perception of betrayal is enough to spark deadly street justice. Some are even tying Ariela's passing to the bigger wave of gang violence rocking New York. Around the same time, a Brooklyn nightclub erupted in gunfire. 4 shooters, 42 shell casings, chaos everywhere. NYPD confirmed it was gang-related, and Mayor Adams rushed crisis teams in to stop the city from spiraling into retaliation. Officially, there's no link between that massacre and Ariela's slayer, but the timing is suspicious enough that people can't help but connect the dots. And here's the kicker. 6ix9ine's name carries so much weight in street politics that going after someone close to him could have been the perfect way to send a brutal message without ever touching him directly. He's too closely watched by feds, too locked down by probation. But Ariela, she was accessible, and her passing hit him where it hurt while keeping the attackers out of law enforcement's immediate spotlight. What makes this case even murkier is the silence from officials. No details on how many shots were fired, no timeline, no forensic findings made public. That blackout has opened the floodgates for conspiracy theories, street rumors, and wild narratives to dominate the conversation. With no official word, the speculation became louder than the facts. So the real question is, what really went down on that tragic morning? Because as we dive into the actual investigation behind Ariela La Langosta's slaying, the official version of events is starting to clash hard with the stories flooding hip-hop blogs and social media. What's unfolding now is a picture of law enforcement scrambling to manage a high-profile case tangled up in 6ix9ine's messy reputation and the non-stop spotlight that follows his every move. The investigation isn't just about Ariela. It's about the challenges of dealing with a polarizing figure whose name turns any crime into a circus of theories, blogs, and street chatter. In some telling footage, 6ix9ine himself breaks down why he thinks old-school gangster rules only lead to one outcome: passing, not respect. His cold analysis hits different when you stack it against the reality Ariela faced. And the reminder that Alpo Martinez, a notorious name in the game, was once spotted at 6ix9ine's own baby shower before his passing shows just how twisted these connections get. In this world, working with law enforcement doesn't always erase ties. It can create deadly contradictions instead.
Because now it's just putting you back in the spotlight and it's telling again. You know what I mean? Like it just won't stop. What's next?
Now, I don't with 6ix9ine whatsoever, but
Why not?
domestic violence, you know why. Domestic violence is domestic violence.
As for Ariela's homicide, the case is officially being handled by both the NYPD and Westchester County Police, who are treating it as a suspicious homicide. Westchester Police Chief James Luciano confirmed they believe the shooting was tied to criminal activity, though the details behind that belief remain sealed tight. That confirmation alone adds weight to the idea this wasn't random gunplay. It was targeted violence with a purpose. But what's even more striking is what hasn't been said. No arrests, no named suspects, no public motive as of August 18th, 2025. For a case that's got this much attention, the silence is deafening. And it's making people wonder if investigators are being overly cautious, or if they've hit obstacles too messy to put out in the open. Even the way Ariela's body was first discovered adds another eerie layer to the mystery. Like the case is hiding something bigger than what's on the surface. Ariela was discovered around 8 a.m., slumped lifeless inside her vehicle on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. Multiple outlets report she took a bullet to the head, but here's the catch: the exact details, like how many shots were fired, what kind of weapon was used, and the full sequence of events are still locked down tight by authorities. And that location, that's what makes the whole thing even more puzzling. The Cross County Parkway isn't some hidden back road. It's a major link between the Bronx and Westchester, always buzzing with traffic and lined with surveillance. For a hit to go down there without immediate witnesses or clear footage suggests one of two things. Either it happened in seconds flat, or it was carefully timed by people who knew the blind spots better than anyone. Another piece that flips the case is 6ix9ine's own situation. Speculation's been heavy that he was with Ariela when she got hit, but legally that doesn't add up. In 2025, he was strapped with house arrest and electronic monitoring, making his presence in New York almost impossible without being instantly flagged. That gap between rumors and reality forces us to rethink the dominant theories. If Tekashi wasn't even in the city, then what does that mean? Was this a symbolic strike meant to rattle him by targeting someone close? Or could it have been mistaken identity? Attackers thinking he'd be in the ride with her? Either way, the motive stretched deeper than just random violence. And let's not forget, the threats on 6ix9ine never stopped. Back in February 2025, someone mailed a fake casket straight to his Florida mansion with rival King Von's name etched on it, a chilling reminder that his enemies stay active, circling and waiting for their moment. Ariela's passing might just be the latest warning shot in that long-running battle. The deeper you dig into 6ix9ine's twisted mindset about survival and street credibility, the clearer it becomes why people close to him end up in the crosshairs.
Wait, let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask the OGs a question. Was Mel Murder running around with Treyway? Well, I mean, was Mel Murder running around with Jim Jones in 2009? Was Mel Murder running around Jim Jones when he was doing bowling?
Yeah.
He was, right?
His final remarks about the Alpo Martinez situation are telling. He flat out confronts the hypocrisy he sees in hip-hop. And that kind of boldness explains why he's stacked up enemies like no other. See, 6ix9ine thrives on calling people out, exposing contradictions, and questioning street credentials. And that makes him a magnet for hate. By extension, anyone tied to him, even loosely, becomes fair game for retaliation. That's the dark truth about proxy violence. It's not about striking the main figure, it's about hitting someone close enough to hurt them without touching the heavily protected target. And that's exactly the type of warfare that dominates today's street conflicts. Even commentary from the No Jumper host highlights how the culture sees it. 6ix9ine's track record of cooperating with the feds is so ingrained in his image that it paints a target not just on him, but on anybody around him. In the streets, that kind of reputation isn't forgotten. It's unforgivable. And 6ix9ine doesn't just stay quiet about it, he doubles down with his aggressive challenges, asking others what they would have done in his shoes. But that constant back and forth exposes the contradictions that make him so polarizing. He's both hyper-defensive and openly vulnerable, and riding with him means inheriting all that danger. That's why the timing of his tributes to Ariela hit harder than most realize. They came at a moment when he was already under heavy legal heat, waiting on sentencing for his July 2025 guilty plea to drug charges. Any statement he put out, especially one emotional enough to hint at personal ties, risks drawing even more eyes from both law enforcement and the streets. This shows that either 6ix9ine's emotions broke through his usual caution, or he had deeper reasons for posting those tributes that went beyond grief. Some people think his posts were a way to distance himself from suspicion, while others believe they were raw, genuine pain from someone who barely had anyone he could truly trust in this game. The community's response to Ariela's passing has been overwhelming. Both Icon New York and Starlets, venues where she lit up the nightlife, shared heartfelt tributes on Instagram, remembering her as a shining star filled with joy and humility. The Dominican community in New York and across the globe has been in deep mourning too, with fans flooding her Instagram comments with love, prayers, and messages of condolence. But even with all that emotion, the facts remain chilling. As of now, what we know for sure is that Ariela La Langosta was found shot inside a vehicle on the Cross County Parkway on August 17, 2025. Authorities are treating it as a targeted attack tied to criminal activity. No arrests have been made, no suspects confirmed, and the motive is still a mystery. The questions outweigh the answers, and the streets are still buzzing with theories. So what do you think really went down? Was Ariela caught in the crossfire meant for 6ix9ine? Or was there more to her ties with the people around her? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.